Hello, this is Kylie from Embody Nadora, and I am sharing this video with you today about quite a significant event coming up this month, and that is the solar eclipse on June the 10th. So this is an event that is taking place in Gemini, which is the twin energy, and this is like all about polarity and choice. And of course, being a solar eclipse, it is all about a lot of new beginnings and big potential unfoldings and changes and literally game-changing events. So these are always powerful energies, marking really big moments for these big kind of changing energies and actions and experiences. And if we're willing to just lean into it and step into it a little bit, the potential for what that can bring for us over the next 6 months can be really quite huge, because these eclipse energies do last up to 6 months. So this particular event, this eclipse, is happening at the same time in square with Neptune. Now, Neptune is all about the heart. It is very much a heart energy, while Gemini is so up in the head. And so this moment, this eclipse moment, and then for the next 6 months is literally going to be pulling and tugging us in both directions between the head and the heart. So essentially offering us a chance to kind of find this like balance between the two, a balance between head and heart, and to find that these two actually come together quite inclusively and creatively and inspiringly when we're able to just get out of our own way and drop down out of that monkey mind and sit in the heart with a more higher perspective of like a love wisdom. And so balance and integration of these two energies is always kind of what we're striving for. And this is the moment for us to really jump into that. So this square energy sort of also ushers forward a chance for us to kind of admit to ourselves all the things that we've not really been honest with ourselves about, what we've been hiding from or denying for ourselves. And these can be good things and bad things. But essentially, if you've heard anything we've ever said, there is really no good or bad. It's all just perspective. So on a bigger scale, we're looking at big truth and big lies sort of coming to light. What is truth? How do we recognize the truth? How do we get to the truth? And how do we share truth? The North Node is here in Gemini also at this moment. So there is a lot of energetic opportunity around how we use our thoughts and energies for choice and reflecting on how that impacts others, but also how we perceive what others around us are doing. So essentially, how we impact one another, finding balance between what we take in and what we're putting out to form these kind of real bonds based on real happenings and real moments and truth. So solar eclipses are a time to reflect internally, to embrace new opportunities. They are sending things our way that we need to deal with, usually from past themes in our life. They can bring bold beginnings out of the blue or a surge of motivation to start something completely different, a better path that's more suited to our soul. So I wanted to take a really quick look through the different cosmic or zodiac signs and how this eclipse energy may be affecting you, and more importantly, let you know how you could best work with it and move with it instead of pushing against it. So remember, this is an eclipse energy, which is kind of like a more intense or profound energy of the sun-moon cycle. So the effects here will be present for at least the next 6 months, giving us plenty of time to fully integrate and move into this new awareness of self. So what are we able to learn? Let's have a look. Now for Aries, this eclipse takes place in your 3rd house, suggesting This is going to be a good time for communication, for teaching, learning, speaking, and just connecting with others and sharing ideas or networking. In terms of new beginnings, this could be a great time for you to learn to express yourself from a completely new space that is way more heart-centered and less caught up in all of the noisy, busy distractions of the mind. So anything you can do to shift into the heart space is perfect. Supplementing the traditional astrology, the esoteric idea of the third house is to integrate the aspects of higher and lower self. So Gemini and Mercury are the traditional rulers of the third house, but once an individual sort of becomes dedicated to their own spiritual path or starts to walk their spiritual path, which is what esoteric astrology is depicting for us, Venus becomes the ruler of this house. So this is the hidden or higher aspect of astrology. And so if this is you, a higher level of communication with self will kind of be what you're seeking through this energy. This is the house of human rights, through kind of like a unity consciousness, and it marks the universal communicator representing the standard of principles of democracy. So it shows us the kind of access that we should all have to knowledge and education and information in order to allow us to make our own empowered choice. Okay, for Taurus, this eclipse is taking place in your second house, which is a very busy house for you this month. Now, this house is of money and values and the resources needed to sustain life, basically. So you may find that your values here are changing and what you thought you wanted is not what you really want. You might be looking at the different ways you spend money and then reevaluating what you consider actually worth your money and your time and your energy. Because this house represents the things that we sort of develop over time. So anything you can do to develop or start supporting your inner ideas in how you support yourself, through like your talents and all of those inner skills, how you can turn these into like a purpose and a practice in a career or a money sense, maybe starting a business or, like a profitable hobby on the side. Supplementing the traditional astrology, the esoteric meaning of the second house is spiritual values and the use of our life energies. So the recognition of how you're spending your energy and your life force and what you are creating with it could be a bit more important to focus on for you through this energy. This house is a very healing house that rules over the body, movements that kind of sustain the body, things such as yoga and qigong and bioenergetics. So this house here holds an energy that can be quite compulsive, but in a very spiritual sense. And so it's about sharing what we have fairly with other people. So through things like trade and agriculture and medical ideas and techniques, doing things and sharing ideas and our gifts and talents, all for the benefit of the collective. Gemini, this eclipse takes place in your first house. Now, this is like a new you being birthed. So asking things like, who am I and what do I want to be? What kind of relationships with others and self and spirituality, etc., do I want to have? And maybe looking into what's new about you and ready to be seen and shared and developed at this time, because this moment, this energy has a lot to do with peeling back the old layers and just letting in more light, more sun, and allowing more parts of who you are and who you are becoming to kind of like merge into the aspects of who the world is seeing you as. So this first house is almost like a rebirth house because it's the rising house of a new cycle. So it acts like a starting point for what will follow throughout all the other houses within this next astrological cycle. So anything you can do to let go of all of the ways you don't want to be and releasing all of the things that you don't want to have is how you can probably best work with this energy at this time. So consider what is burning inside of you, just waiting to burst out, and what you need to let go of to make room for that to happen. Supplementing the traditional astrology, the esoteric meaning of the first house is the aura, or the feelings around the person, like our emotional bubble, meaning the energy emergence of the soul purpose. So activities and possibilities of life here for the soul, within the soul, that we want to lift and carry out towards our spiritual goals. So again, a coming together of heart and mind with Mercury and Venus aspects can become a powerful force within this eclipse energy. This house rules our soul's purpose. So the purpose for which our soul came into manifestation here. And also activities that carry like national implications and social reforms and social services and activism. So you'll find a lot of meaning in doing those sorts of things. Cancer, for you, this eclipse is in the 12th house. And a lot in this house for you also this month. And this is activating your unseen experiences, and your unseen world. So it's quite mystical. This has a lot to do with your spiritual and your soul self and your soul journey, because this house looks at your subconscious and unconscious and how you deal with secrecy and hidden enemies, parts of your personality that you struggle with, dreams, mysticism, and past life issues. So anything you can do here to find balance between these and to deepen self practices and the quote unquote real world tasks that you need to partake in, you'll find value in both for you at this moment. But this is an ideal time to begin building this deeper relationship with all of these hidden or shadow aspects of who you are, but haven't been able to or been willing to look at just yet. So developing maybe like a meditation practice is a great time for you to be doing that, because as you close out all of your outer senses, your intrinsic senses start to wake up. So esoterically, the 12th house represents your unredeemed past actions, all that is unbalanced and needs to be dealt with or acknowledged, while the traditional rulers of this house are Pisces and Neptune. This soul level is governed by Pluto, and so it relates to deep transformation, conclusions, and selfless service to humanity. So this can be the house of personal undoing through a lack of acceptance or a lack of nurturing and a lack of an ability to essentially receive. And that then flips around on you, creating the experience of a self-imposed prison. So if you can get comfortable within yourself so that you can accept yourself holistically, you'll have nothing to fear as you go forward down this soul path. Leo, for you, this eclipse takes place in the 11th house, along with the Sun and Mercury sitting in here. This house is all about the social life and the social circle, your impersonal relationships and how you interact with groups and organizations. So there could be a few new friendships or a desire for new friendships. Within this energy, it is really a wave of change for growth in this area. So maybe connecting with new groups or a new soul tribe that really enlivens and uplifts your soul and your earthly experience. What you're ultimately seeking out and deciding about is what you really want in these kinds of relationships with your socials, your friendships, in your community area, and then working out what it is that you're wanting to give more of and receive more of within those relationships. So anything you can do here to enhance connections that feel rewarding, balanced, and connected on a new and deeper level is really ideal. Esoterically, the 11th house represents your visions and ideals, upholding actions that help the collective progress and therefore improve through higher aspirations and spiritual integrities involving other people. So this means like all the things that we generally perceive as difficulties and challenges from the lower aspects of self become recognized and appreciated for what they actually are in this energy. Virgo, this eclipse takes place in your 10th house, and this is all about opening up the eyes to new possibilities. So traditionally, this house signifies your status potential in the public eye, and so can be a little shallow and can get caught up being about how you want the world to remember you and honor you. This energy invites you, though, to really lift up your head and learn to see the bigger picture, your purpose, the reasons and potentials for what is actually happening here and available to you and for you. There is never nothing going on, and there is never nothing that you can do to walk your soul path. So over these next 6 months through this eclipse energy, anything you can do to just look up and look out across the unlimited potential and possibilities that are all here and available for you is perfect. Daydream, literally, in a big way. Write it all down. Write all your biggest dreams, your wildest dreams, write them all down. So while the lower aspect of astrology looks at how you benefit socially from the esoteric level, the meaning of this house is around the true quality of your spiritual purpose. And then the embodiment of that is being able to step into your responsibility and claim it and use it. Our soul programs through this energy is to come out into the public and define how we will be of service to others. Libra, for you, this eclipse takes place in the 9th house, and this is activating the energy of your higher learning and your spiritual journey. So it's time for you to start absorbing more of this spiritual type of information and also teaching or sharing it with others. It signifies your ability to understand your own sense of purpose and direction, to pursue new horizons, to maybe travel and live abroad, to find interest and deeper meanings in philosophies and religions, and just work on and develop your own prophetic abilities for the purpose of personal higher advances that will in turn serve the collective. Essentially, it's all about expansion, which we're all doing anyway, but this eclipse energy is a perfect time to deepen your practice or to begin a completely new one altogether if you don't have a spiritual practice. Anything you can do to open up to this inquisitive nature of learning around the area of spiritual growth and personal development is really perfect. The esoteric meaning of this house is about our ability to understand the cosmic law and embody all the resonant energies of ancient wisdom that we all have access to. So this may also be where you feel ready to make a shift at this time, and this energy fully supports all you Libras doing this now. Spiritually, the individual experiences expansion through exposure to people who are socially and culturally different from oneself while in this house. So the lesson is in learning to accept differences and inclusiveness in spiritual concepts and philosophies. Scorpios, this solar eclipse takes place in your 8th house. In traditional astrology, the 8th house generally signifies the life process. So it is about legacies and spiritual awakening and psychic abilities and a very mystic occult knowledge. But with this eclipse energy, this house has to do with letting down your walls and opening up your heart to healing and becoming more connected and intimate with those around us, kind of like revealing these mysterious occult aspects of ourselves. So I am a Scorpio myself, and I know firsthand that generally we Scorpios don't trust, and we don't open up to many people very easily. We are very guarded, and so not a lot of people truly know who we truly are. So this eclipse energy is about allowing people to really see who you are instead of just being the observers as we may usually find ourselves being. And of course, with this big opening comes big rewards, and this is to feel ultimately more loved and understood and connected to with others, the people that we're closest to. So anything that you can do to let down your barriers, just a little, is encouraged for you in this energy. To supplement the traditional astrology, the 8th house signifies the path of awakening soul consciousness. And so if you are already awake and walking your path, then you might expect these channels to deepen with this energy if you are willing to go with it and get vulnerable. This is really a major healing house of things that may seem a little out of control within you. And this can be on all aspects though: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, economic, and even technological. There is immense power for transformation and rejuvenation for you with this eclipse, Scorpio. Sagittarius, this eclipse for you is within the 7th house. And this energy is working within your house of relationships. So it signifies the quality of your one-on-one connections, marriage, long-term partners, both romantic and business. Also things like legal contracts or long-standing enemies and long-placed restrictions and expectations that you and others have placed upon yourself. So this could mean possible new relationships. It could be the renewal of existing relationships, or it could be just to stir up within you your true desires for what it is that you actually want. As with all eclipse energies, it is a perfect time for something new. So it might just be all about shaking things up. Anything you can do to recognize these potential and new perspectives within your relationships is beneficial to your general energetic flow at this time. So consider what you have been putting in and not getting back, or what you have been neglecting in these areas. Try to see it with all new eyes and see what comes. In esoteric astrology, the 7th house signifies what your path of inner union between personality and soul is and what that will look like. So maybe taking a minute to just slow down and look at what kind of personality or qualities you are attracted to, and not accepting within yourself as like a shadow indicator. And you might notice these showing up in other people also. This house rules what we seek in others rather than build within ourselves. So when we apply these qualities to ourselves, we can have an integrated personality, but it requires you to let go of expecting others to be what you need or what you want them to be. And also letting go of codependent or enabling relationships and attitudes. So look to others to reflect what you need and what you want to be, and then integrate this into your expression of like balance and unity consciousness. Capricorn, the solar eclipse for you is in the 6th house, and this is the house of health and well-being. So what do you want to start including on every level of health? What are you taking in and consuming mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? The eclipse energy is pushing you to give more attention, more awareness to these things and your choices or level of responsibility over self in these areas. Anything you can do to begin new processes of creating better health and well-being, new exercise programs, meditation practices, maybe a detox or a juice cleanse could be awesome. In traditional astrology, the 6th house signifies people that you work with, employees on the daily grind, a sense of duty and responsibility, capacity and natural ability to stick to a routine, physical health and diet, just the mundane tasks and our instinctual healing intelligence. So supplementing the traditional astrology, in esoteric astrology, the 6th house signifies your own ability to integrate your personality and service through healing and nurturing. So this is a service house and it is a healing house. So prepare to change negative patterns into like more positive ones in order to improve your overall health and well-being. And prepare to shift some of those stuck feelings and those monotonous kind of patterns that you may have fallen into something that may feel a little more enlivening and exciting. Aquarius, your solar eclipse is taking place in your 5th house, and this is the house of creativity, childlike play and service. So all things spontaneous and uplifting and joyous are affected here for you with this eclipse energy, all in an effort to allow you to remember the lighter side of life from your inner eternal child perspective. So anything you can do to create more pleasure and fun, parties or events will help you to integrate this energy and to open up to being more of this less serious version of yourself moving forward. Remember, there is always a need to be balanced, and there is definitely a time and a place to let loose and just be a little silly and a little fun, a little goofy. In traditional astrology, the fifth house signifies what your creative endeavors are, how you express yourself, artistic creations, projects that you just love to be involved in, and what distracts you from doing the things that matter to your heart, to your soul, your hobbies. Like what's keeping you from doing the things that you love. Supplementing traditional astrology, the esoteric meaning of the fifth house is how you express your spiritual will and what you must create to actualize your higher self here in this body. This is the house of creativity and of the soul, and is connected to working with young people and embodying that youth and connectedness and acceptance and compassion. So pay attention to any of those keywords that were highlighted for you and see what you can do to just integrate more of that into your life through this transit. Pisces, for you, the solar eclipse takes place in your fourth house, and this is the home and family house. And so here you might find new beginnings in this area are possible, and this could be the arrival or the news of a new family member, new bonds. It could be a new home or renovations taking place, anything that gives a newness and a bit of refreshment to this area of your life. Anything you can do during this eclipse energy over the next 6 months to bring some extra focus and attention to your domestic life, your relationships at home, and the space around you where you feel at home and comfortable will help you in balancing all of this energy. And this could even be internal, like coming home to yourself and feeling more grounded and safe and comfortable in your own skin. Esoterically, this house rules environmental issues, the environments in which people live, humanitarian issues that are sort of connected with like natural disasters. It's a house that rules the root chakra of our own bodies, but also it rules over the root chakra of the earth, and disturbances here actually symbolize disturbances within our own immune system. And so the spiritual quality of nurturing those outer aspects and other people around us that are in need support the same kind of feelings of nurturing and the same energies of nurturing within us. So honoring those ideas here is ideal for you with this eclipse energy. And that's it. If you find this a little interesting, maybe a little helpful, let us know in the comments. We love to see people connecting with their life journeys on a higher soul level. So if you want to share your own insights, please do. I hope you find some worth and some growth with this eclipse energy that carries you through the next 6 months. And thank you for watching.